Okay, this video is going to be how to sync dual kadron carbs on the type 1. Been having problems with these, mainly because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to find videos on YouTube to make it really simple. I've always relied on other people to do them for me, and it's time to learn. So anyway, I had just gotten my throttle bodies back from Caddyshack. I rebushed them. I had some flat spots and I had the old style linkage. I picked up the newer, supposedly better linkage they recommend and threw away the stock linkage that came with them with the big long ugly spring, so at least it looks better if nothing else. Anyway, so what I've done so far, I just took off the air cleaner. That's about it. You do want the carburetors to run independently, completely. So what I did is I ran the car, I turned the idle stop screw in, so the idle was a little higher so I could run the car, get it up to operating temperature. So it runs now. It was kind of spotty. I had it at like probably, I don't know, 1200 RPMs or something like that to keep it running long enough to warm it up. So it's been running for probably, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, something like that. And then I turned it off so I could unhook the linkage. That way there is no, they're not feeding off one another. One's not leading the other, and that was my problem. So anyway, every time I've tried this, I always forget to completely separate them. They need to be isolated completely. So the balance tube that goes from the intake, I don't know if you can see it in there. You'll know what I'm talking about if you put your carburetors on, but it goes into the intake here and it comes around to the other side. That balance tube here is, I always forgot to pinch that off, partly because I didn't have the right pliers. So went to, here's the tools you're gonna need. I've always in the past tried to get away without buying this piece of plastic because I couldn't justify, I don't know what it was, like 10-20 bucks. It just seems silly because then shipping's like 15, whatever. But you can't do it without this. You need this. It makes a pretty much airtight fit on the top of the carburetor here. You can't use the other type. This fits perfect. It's hard to do with a camera in my hand, but that fits on there perfect. So you just buy it. You have to. I tried. I'm cheap when it comes to weird stuff like that, but I've been trying to get away with the old Pringle can trick, you know, whatever. Just don't do that. Get the right part. And then I got this Unisync here. You can't use the other style with the Kadrons. This just has a little float bowl or ball in there. Basically, I'll explain it now when the car's not running. This goes on top. It's got a nice seal there. This float is gonna be balancing itself from the volume coming through the carburetor. It's gonna float somewhere in the middle. If it's not, this spins. So you're just gonna adjust it, get that float, you know, somewhere in the middle, and then you're gonna take it to the other side, put it on top, and one of them is going to be higher than the other. And what you want to do is go off of the lowest one. So let's say if I'm running it here and the float's up to the first line, okay, that's great, whatever. We take this, we put it over here, and it's up here. Okay, so that's too high. You're gonna adjust the idle stop screw until that ball comes down, until the ball comes down to match the other one. So you want them to be pulling in the same volume of air. And that's basically it. That's how you're gonna balance them. And then I'll be able to turn the motor off again. Then the hard part is, you know, finding the sweet spot in the linkage so they're exact. You want them to be exact. And we'll do that in a little bit, but for now, that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, the pliers. There might be a better type out there. I just went to Harbor Freight. It's right down the road. These were like 16 or 17 bucks. Seems like a lot for a Harbor Freight tool, but that's what it was. Anyway, I'm going to use those, and I'm going to pinch off the balance tube, because that's one thing I was always missing. I guess you could pull the balance tube off and cork them somehow. I don't have any way to cork them. I'm hoping this works. So anyway, more to come. I gotta turn them up again. It cooled down. It depends. Sometimes you got to be at 1,000, a little over, so it runs right. Sounds like it's running really good right now, but if I drove it, it'd pop and fart and piss and shit everywhere. So I'm gonna kind of keep it real close to 1,000. It's at like I don't know, 1100, 1150 right now. So kind of keep it around there. So, blocking the balance tube did actually have an impact a little bit. It actually made it a little, it's kind of weird. When I hit the throttle on this side accidentally, the RPMs went up. You probably heard it. When I did it over here, it's like nothing happened. Almost like just air was coming in the carburetor and like it wasn't fired on that side. I don't know. I'm sure it is, but it just caught me off guard a little bit. But anyway, those are pulling in the same amount of air now. Pretty confident. Tried it a bunch of times, and that's basically all you got to do. In the past, I always forgot to undo to block the balance tube. But I'll do the linkage here in just a bit.